Yo, welcome back to another F1 video on this lovely Saturday. I do have some breaking news. I would not be live for the race tomorrow because it is Father's Day, so I am going to be doing something around that morning during race. So unfortunately, I can't go live for that. I'll probably just make a post, just have like a little, you guys' thoughts about the race, stuff like that. So yeah, and I don't think I got it. Like earlier this week, I forgot it was this weekend. So yeah, that's my apologies, but we're gonna drop a quick video for you guys today. Am I gonna be able to drive an F1 car, but can a regular person like me drive a F1 car? Looking forward to it. Should be a good one. Should be an absolutely great one. We're gonna see. I'm not really sure what to expect, but as always, hopefully you guys are doing good and amazing. Don't forget to like the video and sub as well as always. That's it. That's all I got. As always, let's start, man. Let's just start.
Is constant and your stomach is 3 miles down the road.
Shout to the Enwiki.
I would say that I'm a motorsport fan more than I am a car fan. My love for anything with an engine came really from F1 and motorsport. So growing up, that's what I wanted to be. I wanted to be an F1 driver. I wanted to be an F1 champion. But I ran out of skill and money. I like to blame money, but it was more realistically skill. So that never really happened for me. But I've always been looking for ways to be involved with that sport somehow. And so when I left school, I went to like all the F1 teams. So many of them are based in the UK, and I was like, just give me a job, any job. You can't really do that apparently. You have to have skills or be trained in something. And I was like, I'll just sweep the garage floor. And so that didn't work out. So I went down a different path in life, but eventually ended up working in sort of publicity and PR, mainly for large events. And so that ended up being a few F1 sponsor events. So I started to sort of get involved here and there. And again, I was like, I've got to somehow get involved with F1. I love the sport so much. And, you know, I genuinely, since 1996, I think I've watched every single F1 race to date.
God dang.
I skip a few because of things that are going on, but I watched the full rerun. So I really am that obsessed. And eventually I quit my job
that's
before
crazy.
YouTube and set up a little PR publicity consultancy. And my whole aim was to only do F1 sponsors or F1 related clients. And I got a handful, but it was all a bit of a disaster. And, you know, so that led to me eventually starting my YouTube channel as a hobby, as a way to distract myself from my disastrous career move. Anyway, YouTube has somehow allowed me to get closer to F1 than I could have ever dreamt. And that came to a head last year when I ended up actually driving an F1 car. So this was part of a big campaign I was working on with Infinity, who sponsor of the Renault F1 team.
Well, that's pretty nice.
Part of the campaign was a customer activation event where they take you to the French Grand Prix circuit and let you drive a 2012 Formula One car. Now, there are plenty of places you can go in the world that you can drive a Formula One car. And it's often the shell of a car with a Ford Mustang engine, or it's an old 1980s F1 car with 4 gears instead of 6. And, you know, they're not real experiences. This is as close as a normal human being could ever get to driving an F1 car without actually driving an F1 car. So it's run by the official Formula One team. You go there, you have to go through various bits of training. The car is running 15,000 RPM instead of 18,000 RPM. And
so it's a tad bit slower. So I guess
it has ABS and traction control. Those are in place because some of the people that get to do this event can literally be people that have never driven anything except their Infiniti Q, whatever. So they have to put some safety parameters in place. But what I love is that they can dial in and dial out those, you know, sort of controls depending on the driver's ability. So throughout the day, you build up to this experience by driving other single-seater open-wheel cars. You also do some laps in some, you know, ordinary road cars, even in a van. And they sort of judge you. And so when you get into the F1 car, they go, okay, this guy doesn't need any traction control, or this guy needs all the traction control. But as I say, it would probably arguably be 75 or 80% of the real deal. And for me,
that's straight. That's straight. If it was 8% of that, I'll be dumb scared with that. Like, you know. It Pats, yeah, shout hats. Hey, you know, I'm always open. You know, if you want to bring your boy out, you know, for a little test run, a little behind the scenes, hey, let me know. I'm all for it. But if there's like Chaz, you know, we wanna if you want to test out, not the official car, but like you said, kind of like uh, uh, a makeshift, I guess, type of car, but still like an F1 car, but it's kind of like makeshift. It's not as, you know what I mean? Yeah. But anyway, I don't care. I probably will be a tad bit scared just because like them shits are so freaking fast and stuff like that. I, I would enjoy it, but still at the same time be like, oh man,
Me, for sure, is the
I'm
closest I'm
actually
ever
here.
getting to driving an F1
Yeah, I'm
car,
actually
especially
here.
given my height. You don't get many 6'2" Formula One drivers, so I had to really wave goodbye to that dream
Jeez,
a long time
I'm
ago.
6'1".
So I was
Hold
so
up. So if I was in F1, I could possibly like my height would probably be like a problem. I can't control. I'm freaking 6'1". I can't control that. Oh man, that sucks. No wonder like Yuki and them like 5'5" and crap.
nervous, but so
Man,
excited because
who is the
something
tallest
which has
F1
been a
driver
dream of mine
ever?
since I was 5 or 6 years old, and something which I probably thought was never actually going to happen. So I go down to France. I got the whole day. The morning is arguably the best part of the day because you get put in something called a Formula 4 car, which is a
Formula
junior
4.
series, a feeder series like Indy Lights, but turned down even further. But the cars are super fun. You're in them by yourself. You get two 30-minute sessions. You're racing against a clock. You're not really supposed to be racing other people on track, but inevitably you do. And you're on a Formula One circuit, so you are going all out. And
That's what
I'm
I'm
now like,
saying.
back into my karting zone. Like, I was meant to
I
do this. But
put some
really getting
go
into it.
karting.
And then after lunch is your F1 drive. Now you have to be clear, it's 3 laps. So the main reason they do this is that after 3 laps, people tend to get cocky or too confident and start driving recklessly. But also, physically, very few people can withstand the G forces post 3 laps. I have to explain this because I, as a fan, understand that F1 drivers are athletes. Most
Yeah,
people tend to knock this and go, what do you
yeah.
mean they just sit there and drive a car? It's nothing.
Nah, they gotta be in
But
shape.
you have to realize that they are going through 4 to 5G every single corner on their body, on their neck, on their arms, because the cornering speeds are so high and the braking forces are so extreme.
That's what I
So
heard.
I knew going into the experience, the things that were going to blow me away with the acceleration, no doubt. It's a car that does 0 to 100 miles an hour in 2 seconds or 2.5 seconds. Potentially the cornering speeds, although would I really experience downforce? Because that kind of break between mechanical grip and aerodynamic grip is so slim and so far. You've got to be going like 120 miles an hour plus before you're starting to see the aerodynamics. And then the braking.
Shish.
A lot of people have said to me, the braking is what will blow you away. And anyone who hasn't driven a race car before might not know that usually the brake pedal in a race car is like a brick wall. It's like the firmest pedal you've ever experienced in your life, and you have to stamp on it to get any kind of like movement. So you get put into the F1 car, they sit you down in the seat, and you actually lie down in a Formula One car. So your feet are up here, your hands, your steering wheel's right in front of your face, and you can kind of barely see over. You just see the tops of the tires, and you're kind of lying down. It is quite comfortable, but a little claustrophobic.
But what if I like cramp up? Like, what if I get like a Charlie horse in my leg or in my thigh? Like, if I start to like cramp up, like I can't really do too much about it. Do I just like just sit through it? Like I don't know if I really ever like noticed that like cramping up and all that. Like, that would hurt. You know what I mean? Like that would low key be a tad bit painful. You know what I mean? I would say like got it makes sure you're
Your feet are
stretching
in the
all that
stirrups
before
so that you can't cross the
hydrated.
floor. So your left foot braking. And before you're allowed out on the track, they say, okay, can you push the brake pedal for you? So, and I'm ready, and I push it pretty hard. And they're like, no, harder, harder. And I'm pushing it like harder to the point where I'm like pushing myself back into the seat. I can hardly breathe. And they're like, okay,
Jeez.
that's 75% brake pressure. You got to hit that for every corner or the brakes won't work. And I'm like,
Whew.
oh no, I can't do that. They're
I
like, you'll be
can't do
fine.
it.
I'm
I
like,
can't
what?
do that.
So
I'll be
in my
crapping my
mind, it's
pants.
so terrifying, and the emotions of the experience, everything about it is just so
My
overwhelming
adrenaline.
that
Oh my
I'm not really
god.
taking the moment in. So by the time you actually get in to drive the car and you're belted in, they start up the engine and they push you out to the pit lane because it's too hard to engage the clutch. And you roll away and you're very smooth. You have to just let the clutch out real slow and then the car starts to trickle forward. Not like F1 drivers, they obviously help you with that, but off you go. And of course, the initial reaction is the acceleration. barbaric. I mean, like nothing you've ever experienced before. Take the fastest road car you've ever been, and I'm talking about people who've driven LaFerraris or McLaren Sennas or whatever you might think.
McLaren
Formula One is
Senna's.
faster. And the biggest thing is it's endless. I always feel like in a road car, there is an acceleration curve, no matter how fast you're in. Even in a Koenigsegg or Pagani, after that initial gut-wrenching acceleration, it smooths off. In Formula One, that doesn't give up. You know, the G-force is constant and your stomach is 3 miles down the road until you hit the brakes. But I'm kind of
I'm
excited
throwing up.
because it's
I'm
Formula One,
puking.
right? So I
I'm
floor the
puking.
accelerator and I'm like, oh my God. And
I'm
your head's
puking.
banging around like this. And then I get to the corner, and I arguably am not doing that fast at that first corner. So I turn in, and it's unbelievably smooth and easy. Actually, a lot easier to drive than the little Formula 4 cars because of the mechanical grip. The mechanical grip is so high that it's just, I'm like, oh, I am so good at this. I'm like, I'm so good at this. Flowing
I'll be
through
going
corners, the
crazy.
back's not stepping out. I see the straight, and I'm like, here we go. This is it. So I just go all the way down to second gear and floor it. And it's the most amazing experience. It feels like being strapped to a rocket ship. And I get to the end, and all I remember is these sort of voices inside my head going, use the brakes. You know, like all the people that I've texted beforehand on my racing driver.
Are they at the French
saying, what should I
Grand
do?
Prix?
Use the brakes.
Use
So
that
I'm
break.
curving towards this first corner. And in the Formula 4 car, I was braking at the 200-meter mark. And I look down and I see the 50-meter mark, and I'm like, let's go for it. You know, what's the worst that's going to happen? There's a big runoff. If I die, I die in Formula One. You know, the way I want.
Heck no, 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 I ain't gonna die like that. Hey, respect him. Wiki, he seems like a very, very, very cool dude. Man, I would love to chop it up. We can discuss about F1 stuff. My bad. I'm not going that. I probably would not go that fast. I'm gonna try to just have like a steady pace, but that's it.
And I see the 50 meters, and I push the brake as hard as I can do it. My head, like this, the G-forces takes my helmet and everything down into the cockpit. I can't see a thing. I'm like, trying to shift down gears. By the time I can finally lift my head up, the corner's there. So I'm like, turn into the corner. The whole thing goes like this. I'm like, absolutely.
Oh
Like, as I say,
shoot!
I couldn't. I've never experienced anything like that, and I won't ever again. And I finally get back to the pit lane, and I get out, and the guy goes, "Oh, you did a great job. You hit 40% brake pressure. Well done."
That's pretty good. Right?
40%?
I guess, right?
Yeah, that's
Nah.
pretty good for a
Yeah.
first timer.
That's pretty good. Hey.
How is that 40% if the real drivers are hitting 100% every time? And it wasn't just the fact that I applied as much leg pressure as I could. Like I stamped on that pedal so hard, but it was the forces my body went through. My lungs were like at the front wheels. As I said, my head was in, well, in a not a nice place to be. All of it was so overwhelming that my respect for F1 drivers just went through the roof. Not only their physical ability, but the mental capacity to be able to do
Yeah.
all of that and be fighting
Like
and
50,
putting the opposition
60
on,
laps,
your
stuff like
team
that.
and switching controls. It was a completely sort of a recalibration of what a car could do. And the funny thing is that the team that run the cars on the day say the thing that people struggle with the most with an F1 car is actually how high the idle point is. The engines idle at around 9,000 RPM. And as I say, usually they shift at around 18,000 RPM. So you're always at, that's like forever. You roll out of the pit, you're like, and people can't get used to it. So they let the revs drop too low or they shift too early because your ears just aren't used to that higher pitch. And all the fluids and everything don't pass through the engine or they get cold and everything dries up. And I actually experienced this. I was the only person on the whole day to suffer any kind of issue. Okay, I didn't crash, but I did have a mechanical issue.
Oh,
Because
oh
obviously
my
it's not
god.
like brakes.
I'll be scared.
Before I got
Nah.
onto the main straightaway, I was trying to see what these brakes would do. So I was in like second gear, trundling around a corner. I thought I better stamp on the brakes and see what happens. So there I go. I stamp on the brakes, and everything just went, vroom, and all the revs dropped, and I was in the wrong gear, and the anti-stall kicked in. So I'm there, my first ever F1 experience, and the car just cuts out. You have
Oh,
no pit, you have no car to pit radio. They can speak to you, but you can't speak to them. So I'm just free rolling, literally around this last corner, and I see the pit lane, and I have to roll. Thank God I had enough speed back into the pits, and everyone's sitting there going, "What's this guy doing?" And I'm like,
ah,
"I think I broke it." So the only guy the whole day that like screwed up the program, given the I was
I
the
would have
person
been
most
worse.
excited,
I would have been
probably should have
worse.
known that was something you shouldn't do. But you just have to keep the revs up. You have to keep the energy and everything moving, the temperatures up. It's a amazing machine in the fact that the only way to drive it is flat out the minute you leave the pit lane. There's no warm up procedures, nothing. They've done that for you already with machines
Okay,
and computers. So the minute you leave that pit lane, you got to be on it, or the car is just going to give up on you. And that was a lesson to learn.
that's
We'd like to
cool.
thank Avalon King for their
That's cool. Shout out to Nwiki. Hopefully I'm saying it right. Nwiki. Yeah, shout out to them. That was pretty. That was that was cool. Oh man, the way he did, man. I'm scared. I would be scared. I'm excited but scared. You know what I mean? But like, I'm not trying to f up. I'm just not trying to f up. But you guys let me know your guys' thoughts about it, man. As always, don't forget to like the video and sub as well to the channel if you are new. Take care, stay amazing. Again, sorry about tomorrow. But should be a good race, should be a fun race. Looking forward to, being able to catch at least some of it on my phone if I can. And as always, talk to you guys later, man. Peace.